Welcome to The Grow Show, powered by Steel. On The Grow Show, we share ideas, tips, tactics, and insights to help you grow your landscaping business based on our team's 40 years of experience running a landscaping company and working with other owners and their teams to do the same. New episodes are released weekly on Wednesdays. Without further ado, here's your host, Marty Grunder.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. This is Marty Grunder from Grunder Landscaping Company and the Grow Group with another exciting edition of the Grow Show powered by Steel. Today I am in the Steel studios and we are going to talk about keeping your cool, something that I wasn't very good at 25 years ago and still struggle with today. But first, a reminder, you can get the latest edition of the Grow Show delivered to your phone, tablet, or computer by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts or watch us on YouTube for an enhanced learning experience. The Grow Show is the greatest thing since Henry J. Evans' book, Winning with Accountability. Folks, this book is read by all of our members of our ACE peer groups. It is an outstanding book. And many of you watching the Grow Show right now are nodding your head in affirmation about what a great book this is. I'm telling you, just go read it. And if you've read it, read it again, okay? Because the difference this book is going to make in your life in terms of philosophies on management and leadership is going to make a real difference. So go in winning with accountability. And if you've read it, read it again. Now on to the Grow Show, keeping your cool. That's something we want to talk about this week. And oh man, that is easier said than done for most of us, right? I'm getting away from calling spring our busy season because really what I'm finding out now that if you do snow or if you're really serious about your business, and I'm not inferring that you wouldn't be serious about your business, but there really is no downtime. Like there's times you go on vacation, there's times you get away from the business. We're talking about two different things here, folks. We're talking about your business humming all the time, whether you're there or not, and that there isn't downtime, okay? I guess for most of us, spring is the busiest time of the year, but we're kind of finding here at Grunder Landscaping Company that we're always busy. All right. So I just want to tell you that there's stress in business. Like the struggle is really alive and well. Okay. And that's not something that I deal with that well. I don't always understand the stress that our team here at Grunder Landscaping Company as others and others have with just the business. I don't always understand that. Like I think, well, I'm not stressed out. Why would they be stressed out? Well, they're stressed out because they work for you. They work with you. They take their job real serious. You're putting pressure on them, whether it's direct pressure or unintentional pressure. And struggle it's a tough thing. I mean, we all should be trying to get our businesses to run more and more without us. That's the goal here. But stress is real. And when stress sets in, people can lose their temper. There's stuff that can cause you, the owner, or you, the leader in an organization, to lose your cool. And so we want to try to work with you this week on some things that I have learned in my 40 years of business experience. Boy, that's scary. Every time I say that, 40 years, about keeping your cool and not getting upset. So let's just talk about a couple scenarios. So you come on a job site, you drive up on the job site, your crew's there working, and you look out your truck window and you find that you're really losing your patience here. The service berry on the right side of the bed is not planted in the ground square. One of the guys took his shirt off. There's tools strung out all over the yard. The truck's got the front right tire up in the front lawn. I mean, there's just so many things here wrong. You feel a tirade coming on, right? And so the bad way to handle that would be to get out, yell, "Hey, get over here. What are you guys doing? This looks like heck. What are you thinking? This isn't how we've taught you how to do a job." That's the bad way. All right. And I used to do stuff like that like 30 years ago. All right. That's kind of how I came on a job and acted. That's terrible, folks. That's not what you want to do. The right way to handle it would be to grab the team leader, say, "Hey, Jimmy, come back here. Put your arm around him if that's your style. If it's not, just have him stand there and say, "Hey, just look at this job from what I'm seeing here on the street. What do you see here?" And Jimmy's probably going to come to the same conclusion that you did, that it doesn't look good. And you're always going to be ahead. And you're always going to be able to keep your temper and your emotions down a level if you can ask questions and be inquisitive rather than being accusatory. You've got to try to resist that urge, ladies and gentlemen, to react with anger. One of the things I learned in working with a psychologist, and I've worked with a few in the last 30 years, when my dad passed away unexpectedly, I had a real hard time with that, and I worked with one. I went back after my wife told me that I was getting too mad too fast about stuff that didn't matter. And then recently I worked with another one just because I'm in a good place emotionally, and I wanted to stay there. And there's a big emphasis in our country right now about mental health. So I'm keenly aware of that, and I know how I want to be perceived by others. So I started working a little bit with another one, and she was able to give me some more tips. And it wasn't anything to be ashamed of or to be embarrassed by. It was tips to help me be a better leader. It was tips to help me be a better husband. It was tips to help me be a better father, a better friend. I mean, we're all a work in progress, folks, and we're always being watched. And when you react with anger, Dr. Pistilli that I worked with, she taught me, she said, Marty, when you react with anger, no one hears your message. They only see, hear, and feel your anger. And nobody wants to be around that. And man, when she was telling me that, ladies and gentlemen, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Nobody like hears somebody yelling and says, where's that coming from? That sounds so awesome. Let me go stand next to that person yelling, and maybe they'll yell at me. I'd really like to be yelled at. I mean, nobody says that. I'm saying this for effect to make you laugh. So you gotta work on that stuff. Let's talk about another situation maybe that would come up. You have a vendor. They were supposed to deliver materials. Maybe it's plant materials to your job site. You confirmed with them yesterday that they were going to be there at 8 a.m. It's 9:30. They're still not there. You can't get a hold of anybody. Your crew is standing around. You're fuming. You know this is costing you a fortune. The bad way to handle it would be to finally get a hold of that guy, drive over to their nursery yard, and just tear into them, swear, drop F bombs, throw stuff, take a shovel out of your truck, throw it at their truck. That would be the bad way. The good way would just be to leave it down here. Now, there's nothing wrong with calling saying, hey, listen, you're going to have to work something out with me here. I'm sure something has come up. This isn't what you normally do, but my men, they're standing over there doing nothing. You're going to have to discount this load. You're going to have to work with me on that. But we keep things down here because what happens when you escalate your tone of voice, your rhetoric, the nastiness of your language, you just put that other person on the defensive, and they're not going to want to work with you. We are trying to work with people. And one of the things that I learned here in the last couple of years was this concept of notice, pause, allow. And it's a concept that a psychologist taught me. And so I want you to listen to how I'm explaining it here, and then I'm hoping that you'll try it. So notice, pause, allow means this. You notice that you're getting upset. The delivery wasn't made to the job site. Your men and women are standing around, they're not doing anything. It's costing you a fortune. You're noticing this, all right? You're taking it in. You're getting upset. You're just going to allow it. You're just going to let it and say, okay, now this is happening. How bad is this? Is this like going to be the end of my life? What's going to happen here? What happens if I just don't do anything? What happens if I just ignore my tendency to react negatively and go yelling and screaming and going berserk and letting everybody around me see that I'm very, very mad? Well, you know what? That doesn't really make sense. I mean, yeah, the plants aren't here, but I don't know. Maybe the truck was in an accident. Maybe they're sick. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me just go here. I'm gonna notice. All right. I'm gonna pause. I'm not gonna take any action. I'm just gonna pause, and I'm gonna allow it to happen. And then I'm gonna figure out what is the most positive way that I can react to this situation. Notice, pause, allow. Notice it, let it happen, pause, take it all in, allow it to happen, sit on it if you can. It's really good to sleep on it if you can. Now, something like plants on a job site, I don't know that you can sleep on that. So I get it. All right. I get it. I can relate to you here. But when I reflect back on my 40-year business career, in just about every time where I can think that I had an absolute nuclear meltdown, it's not benefited me. And I've actually regretted it. Just recently, I didn't handle an issue with a vendor as well as I could have. I didn't yell. I didn't do anything like that, but I didn't use the notice, pause, allow. Had I done that a little more carefully with the situation, I think I would have reacted differently. And I would not have insulted the vendor with what I had done, and I wouldn't be so personally disappointed in myself. Okay, I say this just so you know, like, folks, I am not perfect. I'm learning too. Maybe you admire my courage for talking to you about my faults on the Grow Show powered by Steel. But like, I know I'm good, but I also know I'm a work in progress. And if I'm going to get better, I can't make excuses. I got to own these mistakes I've made and I got to try to get better. I say this so that I hope you will learn. It's actually, quite frankly, folks, very easy for me to share these lessons with you right now on the Grow Show because I'm relaxed, I'm calm. I'm recording this on a Friday. There hasn't been anything bad happen to me today. The crews are all out working. I was out in the morning huddle in the stretch. There was some nice camaraderie going on. The weather's halfway decent here today, although it is cool. I'm getting ready to just have my golf shirt on, not my vest here. We've had some pretty cool temperatures the past couple weeks, but I'm calm. I'm a rational person right now. The challenge becomes when you're confronted with something or even someone for that matter that's really upsetting to you. And you got to learn how to control your emotions and not let people see you sweat. The higher up you are on the org chart, the more people are watching you. If you have aspirations of moving up a notch in the org chart, you got to be someone that deals with conflict, that doesn't let your anger get the best of you. You have to begin again to learn how to control your emotions. The older you get, folks, the more wisdom and perspective you have. That's one of the few things that is good about getting older. I think it's that and you need less sleep. Because when I was 30 years old, I was terrible at this stuff, folks, just terrible. I didn't have any perspective. I, gosh, there's no telling how many people I offended with my temper or ran out of here at Grunder. I wasn't very aware of how I came across. And today I work really, really hard on trying to be aware of how I come across to others. And even by being aware, I still make mistakes like I just mentioned to you. We often talk in the Grow group or in one of our peer group meetings, or if I'm doing a session or teaching out of town, we talk about the power of clarity of purpose. Specifically, we talk about three things that kind of make up the clarity of your purpose: vision, which is typically an internally communicated statement. It's where we're trying to go. It's the goal. What's the goal of every team in the NFL to win the Super Bowl? What's your Super Bowl mission? What we're going to do on a daily basis to achieve that vision. And then the core values, the beliefs and the behaviors that must be present in the organization for us to win. That's our clarity of purpose. And the more clear we are about what the intention is of the business, what a win looks like, I think the easier it is for you to understand how important it is to behave in a way that others would actually want to be around you. Okay. I know how I want my team to treat one another. So therefore, common sense should tell me I need to treat them the way that I want them to treat others. So much is talked right now about finding and keeping people at our companies that it's impossible to find people. Well, I'm going to tell you, and you've heard me say this most likely, the number one way to get people to want to work at your company is to make your place a great place to work. And that's all about your culture. And the first four letters of the word culture are what? Cult. It's a good cult. And so, how you treat everyone, the person at the top of the org chart, or if you're not the owner and you're a member of the team, you're still a leader. Remember our definition of leader. A leader is someone who makes things better. That's from my friend Mark Sanborn in his wonderful book, You Don't Need a Title to Be a Leader. I'm not telling you to not confront issues or to let stuff go. I don't hardly let anything go that bothers me or doesn't conform with our vision or our mission or our core values. But I do know how to handle it now a lot better. It boils down now to what you say, not how you say it. Okay. Or not what you say, but how you say it, rather. Sorry about that. It's not easy. But I have found that when we make a vision of how we want to be remembered when we leave this great world, when we have a vision of how we want our other managers to behave, I think that helps. You know what you want your reputation to be. You know what you want others to say about you. Like, I know what I want all of you watching this or listening to the Grow Show right now. I know what I want you to think of me. I'm not perfect, is what I want you to think, but I'm trying. And I'm trying really hard to get better at all this stuff with you. And if you can resist the urge to lose your cool, and do things that affect your reputation, the respect that people have for you will grow, folks. All right, let's wrap this up with what I think is one of the best pieces of advice I could give any leader. And that is, when things don't go as planned, I want you to say to yourself, what did I do? What did I do? Not what did they do? What did I do or not do? What did I do or not do that's getting me the results that I don't want? Because I think when we take personal responsibility for the situation, when we adopt notice, pause, allow, when we have a vision of how we want to be perceived, what we want people to think of us, how we want our team to treat other people, you're going to open up a second location. How do you want that place to operate? I think when you do that and you think through that, and you again say to yourself, what am I doing or not doing that's getting me the results I don't want? Then you can find solutions. All right. I often observe how others so poorly handle situations, and I say to myself, oh my goodness, please, dear Lord, if I'm ever confronted with that situation, will you give me the strength to not react like that? All right. I don't want to be perceived the way I'm perceiving this person that I see reacting in this way. This topic we're talking about today on the Grow Show is so hard to perfect. I hope in a small way, or dare I say in a big way, caused you to think. And the next time you feel that you're losing your cool or you're getting angry, you practice notice, pause, allow. And you see if you can't get better at recognizing the triggers that might make you react to something in a way that wouldn't shed a good light on your reputation, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of The Grow Show, powered by Steel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to The Grow Show. And if you can, give it a rating or share a comment. That helps more success-minded landscape professionals find us. And if you really want to help us, share this episode with your team or any landscape pro you may know. Thanks for joining us this week on The Grow Show. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Grow Show. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and head to growgroupinc.com for more information and resources to grow your landscaping business. A special thanks to the folks at Steel, whose support makes this podcast possible and whose reliable handheld power equipment makes our jobs easier daily. We'll talk to you next week.